I haven't seen the official numbers yet, but I had a lot of fun. And, obviously for me, I think no matter what my numbers will be, I always want to do better. Just that's how I am. I heard some numbers which I'm happy with, and some which I think I could have done better on. Vertical jump, I hit 40 last week, but when we were training, we went, you go as many times as you can until you miss. Where here you only got 2 jumps, so sometimes the first jump you kind of just don't go full out. You kind of just go up to get a baseline and then go from there. But 38.5, I'm happy with that. So I feel like for my size and my weight, I think I checked all the boxes today.
John, 38.5. That's some wide receivers that are talking about going in the first round did that. When does that kind of work?
Played a lot of basketball growing up. Some people were saying that I had some springs in my shoes, but it's just genetics, man. Hard work, that's it. I've always been a good jumper, but I think just playing basketball a lot growing up. I looked forward to vert the most, for sure. That's one of my favorite things.
John, 20 reps of personal high for you?
Yeah. So I hit 19 last week and then 20 today. I think adrenaline got me that last rep, so I felt good about it. But it's all about peaking at the right time, because through training, most first few months are a grind, and then this last week is mostly just recovery. So I haven't really touched the weight since last Thursday, and so I want to be as fresh as possible for today.
John, you know it.
Talk about this past season and really career-based story and all that kind of stuff. For this last chapter here, Pitt gear. What did today mean to you in that aspect?
So much. It was not sad, but like us all being back together. It was nice to be back together. It honestly felt like the bowl game was like a week ago. Florida. I was down in Florida for the past 2.5 months, and it went by in the blink of an eye. And all of us guys were really close, so we picked back up right where we left off. But it was kind of like emotional. Like, all right, this is the last time we're going to break it down together. Everybody's going to go their separate ways. But I think we'll all keep in touch. We're all going to hang out. I think everybody's going to be in town for a little bit. I know Kenny is heading out after tonight, but I think everybody else, we're going to stick around and train here and, hang out a little bit. And, it's great to be back. I love all the guys that have been so supportive, and, I'm going to be at a few practices and stick around. So, I'm excited to see everybody.
It's one. Oh, sorry.
Similar question, John, is what's at stake today? What are the emotions and like trying to get, and then going through it and watching all the eyes on you?
Yeah, I was telling my dad it was probably the most important interview of my life today. Doing this in front of everybody. I kind of like having all eyes on me. It gives me more, adrenaline. It gets me excited. I had a lot of fun, and it's definitely, you kind of can't get too high. Some guys get really amped up. For me personally, I like to take a deep breath and kind of focus in, because if I get too excited, then I lose my technique, I lose my fundamentals and principles. So I really try to focus on just staying locked in and being in the moment. But really at the same time, you got to appreciate it and take it in for what it is. It's a great opportunity. A lot of powerful, big name people were here watching today. So, we'll remember this day for the rest of our lives for sure.
What's it like as a Pittsburgh guy having Kevin Colbert here, Mike Tomlin here, Steelers coaches putting you through the drills? What's that like?
It was really cool. Obviously being next door to them all the time, we have a relationship with them, but it was cool, to hear them call me JP, like they know me, like that's my nickname. Most people know that's what JP, that's what people call me. So it was cool for them to see that. I talked to Kevin Colbert for a while. Obviously he's leaving, but he was a North Catholic guy, I was a Central Catholic guy, so we were going back and forth about that a little bit. North Catholic got a little soft, so they're up in Cranberry now. But he was saying, when he went there, they were tough. But so we joked around about that. But it was really cool. Coach Tomlin, he's like another coach for us. He was in our locker room earlier today. Handshakes, dabbing him up. He's really cool to all of us.
John, everybody's talked about Kenny coming back for the extra year of eligibility. We asked Lucas what it meant to him, for you personally, for having this extra year of eligibility to get to this point. What's it meant for you?
Best thing in my life I've ever done. I think it really changed the course of my life, but for me it was never really an option. I never really thought about not coming back. I think the same thing for Lucas. I think Kenny, was really the only one who we thought was going to leave, and then he did come back. So, but I think everybody is happy the way it turned out because of the season we had. So, like I said, it's the best decision I've ever made, and I'll be thanking myself for the rest of my life for that, for sure.
It's one thing to switch positions just to play in college, But what's it like switching that position, sticking with it, and then saying, okay, I have to train at this level to get ready to compete to make it to the pros? What was that like, saying like, hey, there's maybe some different things I have to do now?
Yeah, so for me it was definitely a transition. We talked about before, when I was a safety, I was always trying to stay as light as possible because I never wanted to play linebacker, and people were always like, you should go play linebacker, and I took it as a slight, like they were telling me that I wasn't athletic enough to play safety. So I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to stay as light as possible and play safety. But after a few injuries, I was getting a little bigger just in the weight room. And then actually I got to give credit to Karl. He was the one that really gave me the final nudge, and he told me he think it'd be a good idea, and I trust him a lot. He's also a Central Catholic guy. And he said, JP, I think you could be a really good star linebacker for us. So I took a leap of faith and took his advice, and it all worked out. So I put on some pounds, and really I just let my body feel into its natural frame. I just eat normal. I don't really try to gain weight, lose weight. I'm kind of just, this is what I naturally am now. So but there's definitely things that I had to change in my playing style. Obviously in the box a lot more, but I took my coverage aspect and ability from safety and defensive back to linebacker, and that's really one of my fortes now at linebacker. So that helps me a lot out at that position. I think it'll help me and be a calling card at the next level. Obviously with special teams as well.
You mentioned today being an emotional day with all the teammates and everything, but with Trey specifically, to share this day with him, I mean, what does that mean for the two older guys in the locker room to have this final?
Awesome. I was so excited. He had a few really good catches during his their position drills today. And you guys know Trey and I have been at this for a long time now. Today was the first time I saw him in a couple months, and nothing's changed. And I know Trey will be a friend of mine for life. And we've really built a special bond, especially the past few years. Obviously, we go back a long time, but we both had some trials and adversities that we could share together. And he's definitely someone I lean on, and I hope I'm someone he can lean on as well. So he's a great friend, and also a great teammate as well.
John, what are you hearing about your opportunity at the next level?
Yeah, so I heard today that everybody said I really helped myself out today. People said I could run myself into the draft with my numbers today. I talked to a lot of teams and said they like me a lot. I'm going to talk to my agent after this. I haven't checked my phone since I turned it off on the way here today, and I haven't checked it. It's in the locker room, so maybe I'll have a few texts to get back to. But so we'll see what the buzz is afterwards, and I'll talk to my agent. We'll go get some food and see where things go. I'll have a better idea after today, seeing the numbers, and I'll have meetings with a few teams coming up this week we talked about today.
If you can think back to what was your 40 time?
I heard between 4.52. I heard high 4.5s. I don't know what the final official was, but my trainer, who was around a bunch of scouts, he heard between 4.52, 4.53, 4.54. So that's a win for me, being 230 pounds.
If you can think back to when you were at Penn State watching some Pitt film, did you see number 8 as being a first round quarterback then, or maybe when for you did you kind of realize like, oh man, this guy's pretty good?
When I was at Penn State, no, we did not. I actually jokingly I showed my notes from my Penn State note. I kept the same notebook that I watched film in, and I showed Kenny my notes on him. What I thought of him. Watching film, who he liked to look off, what his tendencies were, and we laughed about that. But he's grown so much as a player, and it's been really cool to see that firsthand, because he's a great teammate, great leader, and this year, like a lot of quarterbacks, all it really takes is one great season to become a household name like he does. Like Mr. Trubisky, like Daniel Jones. Guys like that, and he's super talented. He always had the tools. Now being in this final year, he was in the same offense for a couple years. He had great weapons, and he really put it all together, and that's the player we knew he was going to be all along. So I'm really happy for him. He's going to be a great player at the next level.